Erev Tov, Rabotai. Question was asked by somebody, a friend of ours. Good question, really practical, happens a lot of times. He asked like this, sometimes what happens is, people in the morning, they get up and they're in a hurry, to go to the job or to go to school, whatever. So they don't have much time. Everything is like rush. So the thing is, they want to eat breakfast before they leave. But what happens is, right, that sometimes Birkat Hamazon, they don't have time, there's like a rush. So what he wants to do is, he wants to eat at home, and then, right, in the car, when they pick him up in the car, he's going to say Birkat Hamazon in the car. That's what he wants to do. Is this allowed to do like that? This was his question, So, we have to understand a little bit about this halakha. First of all, the Chazal said that a person, when he says Birkat Hamazon, he has to bless in the same place where he ate. This is the halakha. You cannot just go here and go there. You have to bless where you ate. But that's very clear. Lechatchila, that's the way you have to do it. But the question is, what about if you had in mind, you know what? I'm going to eat here, but I'm going to bless over there in the car. If you had that in mind beforehand, does that help you? So the truth is, that it doesn't help really. You cannot make this kind of a stipulation that you're going to bless, have this in mind. You're going to bless in the car. You're going to eat at home and bless in the car. Even if you had this in mind, it's not going to work. So you cannot do it this way. That's one thing, right? Another thing which is important to know is that, let's say if a person, right, he ate seudah, and what happened was that he left the house, and then, all of a sudden, right, he remembers he's somewhere else now. He went to the office, I don't know, whatever, right? So in the office he remembers, oh man, I ate and I didn't say Birkat Hamazon. Yeah. He left the house, he forgot to say Birkat Hamazon, or let's say he didn't forget, it was intentional, right? So what's the halakha with that? So says Shulchan Aruch that if it was beshogeg, meaning what? That he didn't do it on purpose, he forgot. So if he forgot, he's allowed to say Birkat Hamazon, where he went already, in the office, whatever, right? Over there, he can say Birkat Hamazon. Why? Because he didn't do it on purpose. But if he did it on purpose, right, and he, then we tell him, oh, sorry, you got to go back there where you were, and say Birkat Hamazon over there. Oh, you went to the office? You went to Manhattan? Too bad. Go back home and say Birkat Hamazon because you did it on purpose, you're trying to be a wise guy. This is no good, right? So we tell you, you got to go back home. That's the way it is. By the way, why were they so makpid, the Chachamim, that a person should say Birkat Hamazon where he ate? What's the reason for this? Anybody know what the reason is? Because they're afraid, that if you're going to go somewhere else, you're going to forget to say Birkat Hamazon. This is the problem, You got to say it right there on the spot. Otherwise, who knows what's going to happen, right? Yeah, I'll say it at the office. I'll say it in the subway when I'm going to the subway. You may forget. Who knows if you're going to say on the subway? Who knows what's going to be? Once you're already going, and leaving the house, God knows what's going to be. So we cannot rely on that. Right, this is the thing. This is the reason why the rabbis didn't want that. So if a person did it on purpose, he's got to go back there and bless. But you know what? B'diavad, right? Let's say, b'diavad. Let's say he didn't know what the halakha is. Whatever, And he blessed over there at the office, instead of going back home. So, b'diavad yatzai dechova, he fulfills obligation, because after all, he said Birkat Hamazon, and that's good, He said Birkat Hamazon, b'diavad, it's okay. You don't have to go anywhere now, once you already said it. But before you said it, it depends, right, as we said, right? If you did it on purpose, you got to go back there. If you didn't do it on purpose, you can say it over here. The rabbis don't, because when you did it on purpose, the rabbis punish you, They penalize you. They say, you're a wise guy, huh? You leave like that, house like that, and you don't, you don't say Birkat Hamazon in the house? No good, right? What are you playing games for? Don't play games. It's not a game, You can't play these kind of games. So, that's another thing, right? There is one difference, by the way, between the Sfaradim and Ashkenazim in this halakha. I'll explain to you what it is. According to the Ashkenazi custom, if you said Birkat Hamazon, right, in a certain room, and you had in mind to go to a different room in the house and say Birkat Hamazon over there. You ate in one room, and you want to go to the other room to say Birkat Hamazon. So, according to Ashkenazim, this works, if it's in the same house, same building, right, whatever. But if it's not the same building, even the Ashkenazim, they agree that you have to go back, right? You cannot rely on that. There's no way to There's no way to rely on this and say, so you got, I didn't say it right. I didn't say, it's not going back. You have to stay there and do it there. That's what I meant to say, right? Not going back. There's nowhere to go back. You didn't leave yet. So that's the way. According to Sephardi custom, but we're a little bit more stringent. So what does that mean? By us, if you had in mind, right, to go to a different room, even though the same house, it doesn't matter. You still cannot do it. There's no heter like this, according to Shulchan Aruch. So therefore, for us, even this is not allowed. So let's just explain, right, before we go to Arvit, a little bit about this issue.
But if it's the right, it's not the right, so it's better that the person not going to do it. It's happened already.
We never say that it's better not to do it. This we never say, right?
Okay,
this we never say.
So what do you say?
So what are we saying? You got to go back, if you left.
You're not going to go back. You know that it's not going to happen. You're not going to go back.
Oh, well, so why did you leave?
It's raining.
So why did you leave?
I left because
the rabbis punish you. That's a knas, they put knas on
do
you.
it in there.
So they're going to tell you, right? If you said it there, yatzai dechova.
But it's not
But lechatchila, you're supposed to go back.
100%, but it's not b'chalevatala or something like that.
No.
For sure you can do it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But that's b'diavad, not lechatchila.
How much expiration time you have on that same bracha?
He wants to know expiration time. Okay, so the answer is like this, right? It says in Mishnah in Masechet Brachot that 72 minutes is the time that we give you, to say Birkat Hamazon. 72 minutes, right? But if you had a big meal, nice big, dinner, right? So then you're going to be full more than that. So then we give you all the time that you're full. So if it was a big meal and you're still full, even after 3 hours, you can still say. As long as you're not hungry again. Right? This is the thing, So then why do we say 72 minutes? Because when you eat a small meal, usually it gets digested by then. This is the reason why we say 72 minutes. But if you had a bigger meal, it could be 5 hours. One of those Shabbat meals, or those wedding meals, You were not hungry for 5 hours, you ate over there, So you got 5 hours at least, But lechatchila, you should try to say early, of course, Zizim makdimim, right? So don't wait. Because you may forget, that's the thing,
You just mentioned a wedding. So what people are doing at the wedding, they're eating they're doing the meal netilah, but then you have the Sheva Brachot in the end of the wedding. Sometimes on the other side of the place, or a different room.
Yeah.
Is that fine? How can you do the Birkat Hamazon over there?
Right, so here's the thing, right? According to the Shulchan Aruch, okay, every room is a different domain. It's a different reshut. So one room and another is like two different houses, really, Yes. This is really the, There are some achronim, like Mishnah Boreh, Aruch HaShulchan, they are makel about that, They're really lenient. But according to Maran Shulchan Aruch, every room is a different domain. So you can never go really lechatchila to a different room.
So it's better if I know that they're going to do Sheva Brachot in the room, so it's better than go to Birkat Hamazon by myself.
Yeah. No, I don't know why they would do that. Say Sheva Brachot in a different room. That's strange. Usually people don't do that,
Yeah, they usually do the same job.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. That's not usually a problem, If you're talking about Kabbalat Panim, the buffet, that they do before the wedding, right there's no hamotzi, there's no hamotzi. So there's no problem over there, You just say Boreh Nefashot, whatever, right? Hamichia. You don't need zimun over there. You don't need nothing like that. So bottom line is like this, right? That lechatchila, as we said, we don't allow you to go to a different room to say Birkat Hamazon, or a different house, or go into the car. No, this is not allowed. Or to go to your office, whatever. You got to say it in the place where you ate. Lechatchila, that's the way it should be. If you had in mind, right, again, right, to say it in a different place, so by Ashkenazim, this works if it's the same house. Only in that case. For the Sephardim, even that doesn't work.
So if somebody didn't see, if I went to a different house.
No, you shouldn't do that. No.
I went already to a different house. So
Yeah.
should I send the Birkat Hamazon? Or can the owner of the house can be motzi?
No, it cannot be motzi because it's not your shita, So, that's lechatchila anyway, right?
Somebody said if you put a piece of bread in a packet, you can say over there, if you still have the piece of bread.
Yeah, this is not correct. Not correct. I don't know who told you this, but no such a thing like this.
During Sukkot,
Yeah.
you go to the Sukkot, there is a
Sukkah. Oh,
You eat over there, you say bracha.
Right.
Then you come back to the room. You say Navaret again, or you say bracha and everything
So the rabbis were lenient when it comes to the sukkah, to consider it like one domain, the house and the sukkah like one domain. They were lenient about that. So what does that mean? Let's say if it started raining, right? And you got to do Birkat Hamazon in the house. No problem, you can do that. Because it's raining over there, you cannot say Birkat Hamazon there. So you go in the house, you say Birkat Hamazon over there, or things like this, Or let's say, you started your seudah, right, in the sukkah. You started, right? Started to rain. Boom. Bach, 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 thunder, all of a sudden, right? So you're allowed to go and continue in the house, the meal, with the same bracha, You don't have to make a new bracha. Because they consider it like one domain. The sukkah in the house, So, if it's what I'm saying is you had to move, to the other place. So you can do also over there, the Birkat Hamazon, or whatever, right, to continue the meal. So sukkah in the house is like one domain. That's the way they consider it. But 2 rooms in the house is not one domain. It's not the same thing. So therefore, right there, lechatchila you shouldn't do it, right? That's the thing. Okay, so anyway, right, as we said, so if you had in mind, right, that only works for the Ashkenazim if it's in the same house. Now, if you didn't, but the thing is, if you, right, left the house and you didn't say Birkat Hamazon, so there, as we said, right, if it was beshogeg, if it was inadvertent, so there, right, we allow you to say over there, wherever you are now. If it was bemezid, you did it on purpose, you knew what you were doing, and you still went. So there, we tell you, go back there, do Birkat Hamazon over there. Right? B'diavad, if you did it here, yatzai dechovah. It's okay, b'diavad. But lechatchila, we tell you to go back there. As we said, right, the main reason is because you may forget. This is the reason why the rabbis made all these rules. What about Hamichia? What's the rule? Do you have to say, right, the Hamichia in the same room that you ate? This is the question, right? So lechatchila you should, but b'diavad, if you already left the room, right, you don't have to go back there, for Hamichia. Why? Because Hamichia is not from the Torah, like Birkat Hamazon. It's from the rabbis. So we're more lenient with that, with Hamichia. Even though it's a machloket, by the way. There are some Rishonim who say Hamichia is also from the Torah. But the halacha is that it's not from the Torah. So therefore, b'diavad, right, if you already left the room, you don't have to go back there anymore. Say wherever you are, Hamichia. And Boreh Nefashot for sure, right? No question. Even lechatchila, right? You can leave and go say a different room. Nobody cares about that, right? Boreh Nefashot. You went here, you went to the bedroom, you went there, you went to the bathroom, you came out. You can say still over there, right, wherever you are, no problem. Okay. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen, amen. רבי חנן שאומר, רצה הקדוש ברוך הוא לזכור ישראל, לפיכך הכי הרבה להם תורה ומצוות שנאמר אדוני חפץ, למען צדקו יגדיל תורה וידין.